Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar. My name is Daisy McCarty and this webinar is called Nail Your Brand Message and Supercharge Your Business Growth. Today I'm going to show you how to put first things first, to fully engage your target market, eliminate pushback over pricing, make your competitors irrelevant, and start getting maximum ROI for the time and money you spend on networking and marketing. The way we're going to do that is through this training that shows you the process I've used to grow my own business and help clients across a wide range of industries turn around their businesses in less than 30 days. There's a lot to this, but I'm going to break it down with checklists and real-life examples so you can easily understand everything and use it in your business right away. Okay, before we kick things off, I'd like to invite you all to introduce yourselves. Just type in the chat box and let me know your name and where you are. I'm just curious to see where everyone's located today. All right, here we go. It looks like we've got Tracy from Mobile, Alabama. Welcome, Tracy. Here's Andy, and he's joining us from Houston. I'm up here in Dallas, so welcome. Howdy to all my Texas attendees. There's Kenesha, and she's in Trenton. I believe that's in New Jersey. And it looks like we've got Amar joining us from LA. Welcome. Everybody's filling up the chat box. That's great. Okay. A few pieces of housekeeping right quick. First, we've got a lot of people on the webinar today, so everyone's on mute. Otherwise, it's just chaos. Second, I want to be really clear that any time you receive training about business branding, it's not some magic bullet that's going to make things better if you're not willing to do the work to implement it. Even more important, you have to be providing an excellent product or service and delivering high value and treating your customers right. Otherwise, improving your brand message is not going to fix anything. Third, this is not a demo. I'm not selling you some kind of workbook or training course. Fourth, you have to be willing to think about your business differently to benefit from this training. So put aside any assumptions and approach this with an open mind, and you'll get huge value from it. Next, if you stay to the end, and I can see who stays and who leaves early, I will send you a gift, and it's going to be more awesome stuff you can implement in your business, and it's not something I share with everyone. Finally, this will change the way you look at your business brand forever, so get ready for an exciting ride. Let's do a high-level overview of what we'll cover in the webinar so you know what's coming up. I'll make this fast so we can get to the training. I'm going to do a brief intro to explain who I am so you know more about me. I'm going to ask you a few questions so you can do a reality check about what's going on in your business and what's working or not working. After that, I'm going to pull back the curtain and show you what's going on in the marketing industry that's really hurting small businesses like yours because best practices aren't being followed. Next, we're going to talk about the value of developing a strong, unique brand for your business and the transformation that occurs as a result. It's not a trend or a fad that you don't know whether it's going to really work. You want to follow a process that's proven to create the strongest possible foundation for your business and deliver immediate benefits. Everything I'm teaching today is what I use in my own business and with my clients, and it's based on real-world experience. I don't teach anything unless I've implemented it and confirmed that it works. So I don't deal in theory, I deal in reality. It's not nice ideas, it's all very practical. Next, I'm going to show you 3 things you can create and implement in your business starting today. And that gift I mentioned earlier is going to make it straightforward for you to do just that after I show you how that works. At the end of all this, it's going to help you understand what motivates your ideal customers, fill your pipeline faster with clients who care about value instead of price, and create a brand that competitors can't touch. Here's a quick piece of advice from a client of mine, and it makes complete sense. You have to quit trying to chase all the customers you think you could have and all the different directions you could take your business and get clear on what your brand is really about if you want to grow. That's completely true, and you want to learn how to do that from someone who has shown that this can be done successfully and repeatably in any industry. What you'll find is that once you get this down, you're going deep into your target market instead of spreading yourself thin, trying to be everything to everyone. There will still be iteration and testing and ongoing market research to fine-tune this and really ramp up the ROI as you move forward. But you can save a huge amount of time and frustration and money by doing what already works to create that strong foundation for your brand. What's next? Right, time to ask some questions and do a gut check real quick. If you start seeing any questions that apply to you, you can start typing in responses. I'm curious to see how many people on the call today are dealing with this stuff. Here's number 1. Are you baffled by dealing with prospects when you know they need your solution but don't seem to want it? Number 2, do you want to stop getting into conversations with customers who want rock bottom pricing and don't understand the value of what you provide? Number 3, would you like to be able to afford to ditch the 20% of customers who cause 80% of your headaches and replace them with customers who appreciate you? Number 4, are you worried that your business can't succeed against those big competitors who have a lot of brand name recognition and will always outspend you? And finally, do you want to start seeing better ROI on the money you're spending on marketing without going crazy chasing the latest fads, trying to find something that works before you run out of money? Feel free to put your answers in the chat box if any of this sounds like you. I see a few people putting in messages now. We've got Brian, yes. Malcolm, pretty much all of it. Nina says the price thing is a big deal. Darlene, me too. I've got Tim who just put an angry emoticon. Yeah, I know how you feel, Tim. We'll get you some help with that. Sylvia says, spent thousands on marketing with no good leads. Ouch. Another yes from Jose. Okay, so today my goal is to give you the information you can implement to change what's happening for your business. Because those problems are symptoms. The real underlying issue is that you don't have a clearly defined, unique, and powerful brand message. And you need a process that walks you through this step by step so you aren't missing anything. I've used this system to grow my own business and help my clients do the same. Now, I focus on B2B, but it works for business to consumer, nonprofits, and any organization that wants to be exponentially more effective. And I've got to tell you, even I get surprised sometimes by how immediate the difference can be. With this process, it's possible for you to finally understand what motivates people in your target market to pay attention to your brand and make a purchasing decision. And you can use that insight to grow your influence and your revenue. It helps position your brand as unique and ensure your ideal customers appreciate the value of what you offer and don't want to buy from anyone else. And it helps you stop wasting resources on marketing that's not working and on networking that takes all your time and goes nowhere. Here's a little info about me in case you don't know who I am. My name is Daisy McCarty, and I have an unusual background for someone in this industry. I actually spent 6 years in corporate procurement, that's purchasing, and during that time I did a bunch of vendor selection research and I was exposed to every sales pitch and marketing effort that exists, but I was also present for the conversations that happened after the salespeople left the room. So I had the inside scoop on how B2B vendors get a seat at the table in the first place and what really matters to decision makers and how they choose who to buy from in the end. In 2008, I took that knowledge, I launched my own business as a B2B copywriter and content writer, started out as the typical entrepreneur, working a ton of hours, and I'm too embarrassed to tell you what my rates used to be. But I built my business from the ground up. I started with no experience, no portfolio, no industry contacts, but I was able to hone my skills, laser in on my niche, and learn how to connect with my ideal clients and deliver great value for them. Fast forward about 4 years, and by then I only needed to work about 20 to 25 hours a week to support my family. I'd increased my rates by more than 10 times what I used to charge, and I was working with the clients I wanted to on the projects I wanted to work on. Through the years, that's included working with small businesses up to Fortune 500 companies in sectors from tech to manufacturing to healthcare, consulting, list goes on. So over that time, I also developed a detailed, proven brand message consulting process that ensures my clients don't just have content, but they have a strong, unique, and unbeatable brand. I'm not someone who has a lot of online fame. I'm more of the secret weapon that marketing agencies and web development firms trust to help their clients get their brand message on target. And I also work one-on-one with select business owners who are my direct clients. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of testimonials. You can go find plenty of recommendations on my LinkedIn profile. And to put a face with a name, here you can see me with my family. That's my husband Ken, my daughter Jasmine, and the ratty old stuffed animal that is a cat named Arnold. And that's enough about me. Okay, so I want to take a minute to talk about what's going on with the marketing industry serving small businesses. It's what I mentioned earlier about best practices, and this is not to accuse or blame anyone, but just to highlight a problem that this training is designed to fix. Here's what most small business owners don't know. High-end marketing agencies take their big budget clients through a very comprehensive brand message development process before they spend a single dime on marketing or advertising. But small businesses are either trying to do everything in-house or they're being served by small agencies that usually don't have a full brand message development process in place, and they jump right into spending on marketing and advertising campaigns without getting clear on their brand, and then they hope they can test and iterate to get the message on target from there. Unfortunately, that's like trying to hit a home run when you're on the soccer field instead of in the ballpark, and that gets expensive. If you're not sure whether you've gone through this process, here's an easy way to tell. Brand message development results in a set of deliverables that you can use to inform every aspect of your marketing and sales efforts. This includes, at minimum, a core brand statement, who you are, what you do, who you serve, etc., a value proposition or a unique selling proposition, which is about how your customers win, your vision, mission, and tagline, so your purpose, how you're accomplishing it, and a memorable slogan. You have a competitor review, a SWOT analysis with your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, your brand differentiators and positioning, and then key takeaways. Those are the top 4 to 5 things people should remember about your brand. You've got the voice and style, which is the way that you talk to your audience, and then you have your buyer personas. If you can't go to your computer right now and pull up a file that has this documentation in depth for your business, you don't have a fully developed brand message. For companies that haven't been through this process, it's showing up in their business as no leads or poor quality leads, customers who are just bargain hunting, an inability to grab attention with their marketing, and getting shut out by the competition. So skipping this important step is costing businesses like yours tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands in lost revenue every year. And it's causing many companies to go under because they run out of money before they figure out their message. Now, there are plenty of people out there who are preaching that the solution is using the latest digital marketing platform or a systemized lead generation process, or a cool social media technique to scale your business. And those are all things that can ramp up your results once your brand message is on target. But otherwise, it's just putting fuel in a rocket ship that's pointed in the wrong direction, and you're going to crash and burn. What I'm teaching you today is different. It puts first things first instead of jumping into marketing based on fuzzy and wishful thinking. It relies on your knowledge and expertise. So if you've been in business generating revenue for a minimum of 3 years, you can successfully use this system. And the benefits start from day one, and it just keeps getting better over time. Okay, what can results look like if you get this process right? Number 1, it's shortening the time to fill your pipeline with ideal customers. The outcomes are different for each business. The most impressive result I've seen so far is shortening the business growth trajectory by more than 900 days. Second, dramatically increasing your revenue per client engagement and your number of clients. Again, different for each business. Right now, 5x is the number to beat, so you have something to aim for there. But you can imagine even doubling your current revenue would probably put a big smile on your face. Third, creating a strong foundation to build your business, whether you plan to spend thousands of dollars or $0 per month for ongoing marketing and advertising. So it works even if you're just doing networking and referrals, and most of my clients start seeing a difference within the first 30 days. And then also, you get to uncover fresh and innovative ways to make your brand stand out from the crowd, and that's the really fun part. Okay, I know you really want to get to the training, so let's begin. And we're going to focus today on the 3 areas of your brand message that when you get these right, they'll have the fastest and the most profound impact on growing your business. Number 1 is creating buyer personas. And this solves the problem of not being sure about what motivates your target market. So what is a buyer persona? Sometimes it's also called a client avatar, but you don't need to worry about the marketing jargon. It's just a written example of your typical ideal client, so you have clearly defined who they are and can get inside their head with your marketing message. Most businesses still are not doing this. In the B2B sector, it's only about 44%, according to HubSpot, and the percentage drops dramatically for smaller businesses. I'd say only about 10% have done this at all, let alone thoroughly. How do you develop a buyer persona? First, you hammer out some basic demographic information. This is based on the typical clients you serve, specifically the ones you want more of, not the ones that drive you crazy. You want to describe if they're male or female, married or single, how old they are, their level of education, whether they have kids or not, how much money they make, their hobbies, the organizations they support, and where they live. Now, bear in mind, there are no politically correct answers here. Just let the reality of the market guide you. Some of this is educated guesswork, but the longer you've been in business, the more accurate this data tends to be. Now, that is all demographic information. You also need psychographic information, because that's where you find the underlying motivators for behavior. This data addresses both logic and emotion, and for B2B companies, this is really essential because your brand has to offer something your customers need and what they want. Here's why this is critical. One of the top reasons businesses with a great solution fail in the market is because there's a gap between need and want. You have something that's practical, useful, or even essential that your customers need. But if you don't understand what will make them want it, you will get nowhere. Here are the types of things you need to cover for a psychographic profile. What are their likes and dislikes? What are their top fears, their hopes, and their dreams? Then what's their personality type? How do they learn? Is it through facts and statistics? Is it through hearing stories from other people? Or is it through hands-on experience? And then there's how they make decisions. Who influences them? Where do they turn for advice? Are they reading online reviews, or are they researching your competitors and reading blogs or white papers? Maybe they ask their professional network for input. And then is anyone else involved in making these decisions? We'll come back to that one later because it's really critical. And then regarding the problem that you solve for your customers, what else have they done to try to solve it? Did they buy something or try to do it themselves? Either way, how did that work out? And how does that experience influence how they might see your brand? What mistaken assumptions do they make? And what other priorities are competing for their attention? And then how is their life right now because they don't have your solution? In marketing jargon, this would be the list of their pain points. Then how is life different and better once they have your solution? You need to outline this in both practical and emotional terms. How is their business better? How about their career? Are you helping them meet their life, financial, personal development, and relationship goals? And then finally, what do they need to know to make a decision? And what holds them back from making decisions? What are their objections? Each of these answers is gold, so don't skimp when you go through this process. Without documented buyer personas, you don't just run the risk of saying the wrong thing. You might not even be talking to the right audience. Let me give you an example. This is Amber Antelik, and she's a corporate leadership coach serving a very specific target market. Her coaching clients are upper-tier managers and directors within large organizations. But the people writing the check who are sponsoring the coaching effort, those are CEOs and other executives one level up from her clients. And that's the audience that matters when it comes to generating revenue for her business. Her brand message on her website and on her LinkedIn profile was originally geared toward telling her clients how their leadership skills and their careers would improve through coaching. But once we nailed down who her actual paying customers are, the sponsors at the executive level, her message completely changed to talk about the benefits for the organization as a whole, because that's what her real target audience cares about. Now remember, I talked earlier about knowing whether there is anyone else involved in the purchasing decision. Especially for B2B, there are often multiple decision makers or a kind of buyer committee. So for a manufacturing company, that might be an engineer and someone in purchasing and the CFO. Failing to address all of these audiences in the right way can blow up in your face. Here's an example of how a client of mine used buyer persona development to avoid that problem. Fast Visa is a software company that provides an immigration workflow automation solution. And one of the 5 sectors they serve is nonprofit organizations that help immigrants apply for visas and green cards. And within these nonprofits, there are 2 decision makers, the CEO and the field manager. So here's John. He's the head of the nonprofit, and he's the person Fast Visa needs to connect with first to generate interest in their software. John cares about operational efficiency, being able to do more with less. He cares about innovation, taking things to the next level, and looking good in front of donors and sponsors. John will decide whether or not Fast Visa's solution is worth exploring, and he's the person who can ultimately approve the purchase. Over on the right, we've got Angela, and she's the field manager or office manager. She's the person who's running day-to-day operations. And she's the one experiencing the most pain, and she'll benefit the most from the Fast Visa solution. Ironically, she tends to be too overwhelmed to be open to hearing about anything that requires a change in how she's currently doing things. which is one of the reasons Fast Visa doesn't get anywhere if they approach her first. They have to go over her head initially and talk directly to the executive. However, if Angela feels like she's not being included in the process and her input isn't being valued, she can and will kill the deal. She has veto power, so her buy-in is essential. She needs to have her expertise respected, and she needs to be looped into the decision-making as early as possible. Understanding this informs how Fast Visa's marketing materials are written and how the sales team does its job. Here's what your buyer personas should include: who they are, who influences them, their personality and how they take in information, what's bothering them currently, the key benefits they will enjoy with your solution, what they need to know to make a decision, and what's holding them back. When you're creating the documentation for your personas, you can use bullet points, you can write it like a story, or you can do both. I like to do a blend of those two things. So here are your takeaways for creating buyer personas. Number 1, dig deep to understand your target audience. The more information you're working with, the better. Number 2, make sure all buyers are included. Number 3, document these personas to inform your networking, marketing, and sales efforts. And finally, if you hire a marketing or ad agency, provide this documentation to them up front. They'll be able to do a much better job for you that way. All right, let's move on to the second thing you can create to revolutionize your brand, starting today. That's creating brand differentiation. And this solves the problem of customers focusing on price instead of value. When you get this right, it makes it irrelevant what your competitors charge. In fact, if you create enough differentiation and provide enough value for your specific target market, your competitors aren't even in the running anymore. Here's the secret. Your goal is to prevent customers from comparing apples to apples, because that's when they choose based on price, and there will always be someone out there who's willing to undercut you. When you create enough differentiation, your prospects have to compare apples to oranges, and you want to be the oranges. This is particularly important if you're dealing with B2B sales and there's a purchasing department involved. Like I said earlier, I worked in purchasing for 6 years, and I can tell you that this is the number one thing that helps you avoid getting sucked into the quagmire of competitive bidding. If you have those key differentiators in place and you're targeting your brand message toward the things that matter to the executive decision makers, purchasing will still go out and get 3 bids, but the executive is still going to say, yes, we have these 3 bids, but there's really no comparison. This is the solution I want. Make it happen. Here's how to start the differentiation process. You need to identify your top 3 to 5 competitors. Don't assume you know who these are. Do your research. There can be up-and-coming entries in the market that pose a threat, or you may find that who you think of as a competitor is not really targeting the same customers you are. For example, a competitor who is always undercutting you on price is targeting bargain hunters. Those aren't the customers you want anyway, okay? You want to get clear on this because it will save you from spending time and money pursuing the customers that you should just let your competitors have. You can say, here you go, you can have all the people who only care about price and who complain all the time and are never satisfied. Enjoy, okay? You want the customers who care about value and who are open to being educated about how you are different. If I can talk about Amber again for a second, we had to do 2 rounds of competitor research for her because the people she originally thought were her competitors weren't. These other individual coaches were providing executive coaching or generalized leadership coaching or professional development and career coaching, but they weren't doing corporate leadership coaching for those mid-tier directors. Her actual competitors were larger coaching agencies, so that's who she needed to differentiate herself from. Fortunately, those competitors had not developed their buyer personas and they were all talking to the wrong audience, so that was easy. What do you need to understand about the competition? If it's applicable to your business, it can be helpful to create a competitor matrix. And that's mainly focused on features and capabilities, but you obviously need to dig into the differences and the benefits of your solution as well. And this is the first place to look to determine how your solution is better, faster, more cost-effective, or delivers better ROI. And don't confuse that with being cheap. Don't get too crazy with this. I did a competitor matrix for Savvis many years ago. They're an IT outsourcing company. And they wanted to compare every single detail, like the square footage of each data center run by the competitors. And it got to the point where I had to say, look, it's going to take an act of corporate espionage to get some of this information. And it's not even what matters to your customers. Let's focus. So let your buyer personas guide you in creating a matrix that focuses on what matters and not just doing comparison for the sake of comparison. The goal is to identify what you're doing that's different and better that your customers want and need. Fast Visa is an example of when this was baked in from the start. Their unique selling proposition is based on having an end-to-end system that's better than anything on the market and that can be customized to each client's needs. So they had very clear differentiation. For other businesses, those differentiators grow over time as you become better at what you do, improving your product or service and the way you go about helping people. You've probably done a lot of this already in response to things your competitors are doing wrong, so document all of that. Next, you need to consider the difference between perception and reality. So there's how your competitors are presenting themselves to the market and what you know that's going on behind the scenes. These two things might be very different. Competitors can be making all kinds of claims in their marketing that simply aren't true. And there's plenty of shady stuff going on in pretty much any industry. Let's say you own a commercial construction company and competitors lowball their original bid with cheap materials and by leaving out stuff they know needs to be done. Then after they win the bid, they add one change order after another that drives the cost way up. You know this, but you can't just come out and talk trash about your competitors. You have to approach this with some finesse. For example, you should craft your marketing materials so that people who have never been customers of your competitor understand that there are things to watch out for in deciding who to buy from, and so that customers who have had a poor experience with your competitor already will be reassured that they won't experience the same thing with you. Here are other areas to review for differentiation: your ability to provide custom solutions, the consultative approach to bringing customers on board, better follow-through and longer-term outcomes. But one of the most important differentiators in any business is how you create the customer experience. And you need to think about how this goes way beyond the traditional notion of customer service, answering questions and resolving complaints. It's every point of contact and every transaction. CarMax is my absolute favorite example of this because their entire brand is built on this principle. They're revolutionizing the way people buy used cars. The fact that they have fair, transparent pricing is just the cherry on top. From the buying to the servicing to the billing, every detail is amazing. So think about the companies you admire most and look at the areas in your own business where you are creating a superior experience. Then when you're positioning your brand message, you need to show and tell. It's not just about using words like integrity and quality and reliability and customer service, because anyone can say that, and most of your competitors probably do. You need to think about real-life stories that back this up. If I have a business owner tell me that they run their business with integrity, I ask them to tell me a story of a specific time they acted with integrity and how this benefited their customer. So write down a real story to back up each of your marketing claims. Some of these might make good case studies later, but for now, you're just learning how to describe things without those overused words that everyone has heard so often they no longer believe. And don't forget to leverage your customer base. If you haven't surveyed your customers recently, this is a great time to do it. It will really help you understand how your customers frame their experience. What did they thank you for? How do they feel you're different than the competition? What is the thing that's made the biggest difference for them? You might be surprised sometimes by what you find out, because what seems like a small thing to you might be a big thing to them, and it lets you know that you have another way to differentiate your brand. And finally, you want to be creative with your brand. Let me give you a couple of examples. I have a client who provides contract labor for electrical utilities, and one of the most common things they do is provide extra work crews to go out and restore power lines after a major storm. They're doing a lot of things right, being flexible, they have great focus on meeting the customer's needs, but they're not well known in the market. So they can't just talk about what makes them different. They need to show it by offering something different. So when a big storm happens, multiple contracting agencies are called in to provide labor. So all these different work crews from different companies need to be on the same page. My client's biggest competitor is forcing utilities to use their system for planning out storm restoration projects. And it's ancient. I kid you not, they're using paper maps. With today's technology, that's ridiculous. It's inefficient and it's not addressing the utility's needs or wants. This competitor is being inflexible and it's about to start costing them business. Because what my client can do is go in and train all the different work crews from the different companies on the utility's preferred system, their processes, best practices, and technology for doing the storm restoration planning. So they're proving that they're different and putting their customers' needs and preferences first. This is a service they're now highlighting in their marketing because it not only sets them apart from their competition, but it guarantees they're the first company called in for any storm restoration work because they'll be the ones training everyone else. It's an awesome way to do an end run around a big competitor. Chances are that there's something you already have the ability to do that you can focus on to create that kind of differentiation. Here's another example of a client who's using a side gig to funnel clients into his business. Jeremy is a freelance photographer and videographer. The competition in this market is cutthroat because every random person with a camera is trying to get in on it. Now for fun, Jeremy also throws these 80s and horror movie themed parties at local bars and restaurants. So they have themes like Back to the Future or I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's very corny and fun, and it's in alignment with the creative flair of his brand. So we adjusted Jeremy's branding to make these events a key marketing focus. He gets his ideal clients all in a room where he can market his services to them. He's actually making money on these events already, and right now he's negotiating with the venue owners to get paid a cut of the food and beverage sales as well. He sent me this message about how being unique is making a difference. Today I was at a networking meeting that had 2 other video guys. I used your advice, and instead of announcing myself as a video guy or a photographer, I focused on the event stuff. It really worked. So this is when I get to enjoy saying, I told you so. Here are your key takeaways for brand differentiation. Number 1, identify your top 3 to 5 real competitors, the people who are targeting your ideal clients. Number 2, create a competitor matrix with features and benefits. Number 3, outline how the marketplace perceives your competitors versus how things really are. And number 4, dig into your specialized capabilities to create a new differentiator. All right, now we're going to talk about creating brand champions. And this is what amplifies the reach of your brand and its impact by supercharging your referral network. This last one is going to be quick, but I want to make sure it's included here because most of your competitors are not doing this because they don't even understand that it is a part of their brand and their marketing. So you have a real opportunity here, okay? This is one of my favorite strategies. I sometimes call it stealth branding, and when I interview small business owners, one of the questions I always ask is this: who are you creating strategic and referral partnerships with to grow your business? I've talked to hundreds of business owners over the years, and very few can answer that question. Leveraging partnerships is a strategy that I have used for many years in my business, and it's used by some of the smartest business people I know. It's remarkably powerful because it makes every minute you spend on your marketing and networking more effective. Here's a good example. I know this commercial roofing company that decided years ago to stop knocking on doors, stop waiving deductibles, stop competing on price, and stop doing traditional advertising. It sounds completely crazy. But instead of doing marketing the same way as all their competitors, they identified 3 types of professionals in other industries who had direct access to customers who needed roofing services. They aren't selling anything directly to these partners or paying them referral bonuses or anything like that. Instead, they spend their time, energy, and resources delivering incredible educational value to these partners and helping them take outstanding care of their customers. As a result, their competition can't touch them. Competitors can't even figure out how this company has become the rock star of the local roofing industry. It's stealth branding, and it's amazing. Here's an example of how that might work if you own, for example, a commercial cleaning agency. And here are 3 types of professionals who would know facility managers, and those facility managers are your target clients. For your business, you need to determine who those people are who can deliver a steady stream of customers right to your door. Then you turn those people into your brand champions, and they spread your brand message for you. How do you do this? By providing value. Some companies choose to do this by paying referral bonuses or finder's fees. Others simply reciprocate with referrals. And both of those approaches are possibilities, but they aren't always the best options or the only ones. Some people aren't comfortable accepting referral fees, and if you have a bunch of people in the same industry referring clients to you, you can't send referrals back to all of them. So I encourage you to consider other ways you can deliver value. You can even develop personas for these referral partners as well. What challenges are they facing? What do they care about? What resources can you provide? Who can you connect them with to resolve their problems? Here's a quick example of a new way I did this in my business recently. Like I said earlier, There are a lot of marketing and web development agencies that refer clients to me. And they're always looking for great graphic designers, because designers that are talented and reliable are pretty hard to find. So last year I spent a week interviewing and vetting graphic designers, not for myself, but on behalf of my customers. And I found one or two that I felt confident in referring to my network. That's one way to take your influence to the next level, so everyone is talking about you and saying good things about your brand. But at the end of the day, the best thing you can do for your referral partners is take phenomenal care of the customers they send your way. That's what matters most, because the reputation of your referral partner is on the line. Never lose sight of that. When you do things the right way, your referral and strategic partners will become champions for your brand, telling all their customers that you are the one they trust. You have people out there selling your solution for you every day and filling your pipeline with warm leads. So here are the takeaways for creating brand champions. Make a list of the top 3 to 5 problems your customers face that you don't solve. Make a list of the 3 to 5 types of businesses or professionals that are not direct competitors but who solve these other problems for your ideal customers, because these are your potential referral partners. Then make a list of at least one way you can help these types of referral partners. Get creative with this. If you don't know what they need, ask. So these are 3 key components of a unique on-target business brand that is custom designed to make your marketing more effective and help your business grow fast and strong to be what you want it to be. Document your buyer personas, get clear on what makes your brand different and better, and build strong partnerships with your referral partners. Now, I have a really strong desire for every business that provides a superior product or service to have their message heard. Now, it doesn't have to be hard. If you're an expert at what you do and are just struggling to get that message clear, there are plenty of best practices that are well developed that you can implement to make this happen. But it does require the ability to take a step back and look at your business objectively. You can stop the endless cycle of jumping from one marketing tactic to the next, trying to find something that works. That's real, and it's a huge relief. And it's been my mission for a long time now to end frustration and confusion for business owners by bringing clarity to their brand and creating a rock-solid foundation for their marketing. That's what I work to accomplish every day, and I'm really glad you get to benefit from that knowledge through this training. So now I want to hear from you. What's your purpose in your business? What's your big vision and your mission? Type in those answers in the comment box, and I'll read a few of those here on the call. And while you're responding, consider this. How would it feel to stop going in circles with your marketing, start engaging your ideal customers, and start generating the revenue that you want for your business? Tell me how that would feel, how it would impact your life and your business. Okay, here in the chat box, it's Tracy again, and she says her vision is to be known as the best corporate recruiter who delivers top talent for the IT industry. Yes, Tracy, brand reputation is very important, and it feels good to be recognized. Bill says, help more companies with my software. And from Alyssa, my mission is to help organizations be more effective with their manufacturing processes so they can improve bottom line revenue and reduce defects and downtime. Excellent. Thank you, Alyssa. It sounds like you're bringing great value to your customers. And Anthony is talking about how this would change things for him. I could go out on the weekends with my kids and not panic that I'm wasting an opportunity to get the money to pay the bills. Yeah, the hustle really sucks. You want to be able to enjoy that downtime. And from Sam, I can feel excited about my business again and not be spinning my wheels. Absolutely. Thank you everyone for responding. Now I have another question. Can you see how after what I just showed you today, how having a fully developed and implemented brand message can support your vision for your business? My goal today is not to sell you on a concept. There's no question about this. It works, and not just for the big businesses with a lot of money, but for organizations of all sizes and in any industry. I'm betting that if you let me take you through this entire process, it will transform your business. I've seen this over and over with client after client. So I have another question for you. Do you want me to walk you through this full process step by step and craft your core marketing content so you're completely set up for success in your business? I know that once this process is complete, you'll see an immediate improvement in the caliber of the customers you're bringing in. You can stop all that battling with price objections, accelerate your business growth, and make the process of marketing your business enjoyable. That's not pie in the sky. These are the things my clients tell me all the time and why so many people in the marketing field send business owners to me for help. Now, the best way to find out if this process is right for you is to dedicate time to getting on the phone with me to dig into what's going on with your brand right now and see if this is a good fit for your business. I do have some conditions that you need to know. Over the next 30 days, I'm only working with a few clients. Because I work with each client one-on-one. It's an in-depth process, and I can only provide the required level of focused attention to a few clients at a time. Second, I only work with businesses that I'm confident will see results. So you have to be a good fit. I have a simple application process that asks some questions to understand if you're the right person for this process. Number one, you have to have a superior product or service, or be doing things in your business that are different and better than the competition. Second, you have to have been in business generating revenue long enough that we have enough information about your target market to work with. I find that typically starts about 2 or 3 years in at the earliest. Third, you have to be willing to participate in this process, take feedback, and move quickly to implement the results. Because what I want is for you to be my next major case study showing dramatic results and a remarkable success story that I can share with others, because I really enjoy bragging about my clients. So here's the deal. When you finish this video, click the application button. Now, when you click that button, it's going to open my calendar and a simple application that has you answer a few questions so I can get a good feel for your business, because I know it's important for you and me that we don't waste each other's time. After you fill out that form, I'll shoot you an email probably within a day to confirm, and then I'll call you at the scheduled time to see if we're a good fit to work together. At the end of our call, one of two things is going to happen. Scenario number one, which I think is most likely to happen, is that you'll say, "Wow, Daisy, this is exactly what I've been needing in my business. Let's get started." And what will happen is we'll jump right in and get it done. And then in scenario number two, which I don't think is likely at all, you might say something like, I thought this was going to be something different, and I was really hoping for something else. In that unlikely event, I'm still going to make sure you walk away with more insight into what's going on with your business than you had before the call. And that's my way of saying thank you for taking your time to talk with me. So you'll either be super excited to work with me after our call, or you'll just have key insights from someone who's really listening to what's going on with your brand. So here's what you're going to do next. Click the button at the end of this video, grab a spot on my calendar and fill out the application. Once I get that information, we can confirm our time to talk. There are a couple of quick notices before we wrap this up. Number one, you need to be available for your strategy session when you request it. Otherwise, you'll have to forfeit that spot to one of the other handful of people I'm offering these sessions to. And that just means you'll be kicking your business goals that much farther down the road. I don't want that to happen. And number two, this webinar is being viewed by hundreds of people through my network, my LinkedIn group, my email list, and on social media. And these sessions are given out on a first-come, first-served basis. So you want to be at the front of the line. With that kind of audience, we both know these spots are going to go fast. So you really need to fill out that form now. And in closing, I'd like to thank you so much for your time and for booking a spot on my calendar. I look forward to speaking with you soon.